G'day, Ben Futrell here. In today's video, we're going to have a look at the SMART acronym. So when it comes to setting goals, what does a SMART goal actually look like? And what does each point of the SMART acronym actually mean? So you've probably heard it before. You know, if you're going to set goals, make sure they're SMART goals. And it's easy to say, is it a SMART goal? Well, hopefully it is. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is when you're setting your goals, actually to use this acronym to help you judge whether or not your goal is actually a SMART goal. So if we have a look at the 5 things here that SMART, the S-M-A-R-T. So the first one is S is for specific. So it's no good setting a goal that is wishy-washy. Hey, I want to get more sales, or I want to hire more people. It's about being specific with a number. So for example, say you want to get more sales, say what percentage of increase you're after, or how many dollars in additional sales or revenue you want to get in. Be nice and specific about it, because once you're specific, then you'll know exactly what it is that you're targeting. M is then for measurable. So it's important that by being specific, you can now measure your goals, and you need to have KPIs, which are key performance indicators, in place so it's easy for you then to be able to measure your progress. It's no good setting a goal if you've got no way of measuring them on a regular basis to make sure that you are or aren't on track. And of course, if you're in front of where you need to be, great. If you're behind of where you need to be, you can start to make adjustments to get yourself to where you need to be. A is then achievable. Now, it's one thing to set a goal, so I'm going to quadruple my revenue in the next 3 days. Probably a little unachievable. So it's about making sure that the goals that you set are achievable goals. Otherwise, you're going to set goals, you're not going to achieve them, and that's going to deter you from setting more goals in the future. So it's really important that you look at your goal and say, is that an achievable goal based on the marketplace, based on my ability, based on what it is that I sell, based on my pricing, based on my resources to deliver. Is it achievable? So when you think about is it achievable, there are a lot of different things for you to think about. The next one then is R, and R is quite commonly confused as to whether it's results oriented or is it realistic. Now I like to use both, and I'm going to give you an example in a second, because it's important for you to understand the difference between achievable, which is the A, and realistic, because a lot of people get a little bit confused about those two. But let's talk about results first. Your goals need to be results oriented. Once again, sort of ties in with whether they're specific and measurable. Being results driven means that it is about an outcome. It's about getting some sort of a result from your activity. So at least then your goal has some sort of purpose. So it's very important. The second thing then is it realistic? Okay, and that is making sure that your goal is realistic for you, for your circumstances, for your market, for all of those different factors. Is it a realistic goal? As I said earlier, maybe you want to quadruple your turnover in the next 3 days. Probably unrealistic. Okay. And then 4, that would make it unachievable. The final one there is time frame. It's really important that when you set a goal, you set a time frame, so a deadline as to when you're going to achieve that goal. And there's 2 reasons for that. First of all is you don't want an open end of, well, I'll get it done next week, I'll get it done next week. But the second thing is, to really be great at achieving your goals, you need to set up a timeline in your plan of what you're going to do to get there. So for example, if I know that I want to, my time frame is 30 days, then I can start to work back and see where I need to be at 20 days, at 10 days, at 5 days, and I can start to measure my progress against my time frame. If it's just open-ended and I have no end date on it, it's very difficult to hold myself accountable and know whether I'm on track or off track. Now, how does this all apply to a goal? So let's use a goal that's something where I can be unrealistic. Let's think about this. Let's say I'm going to, let's say I'm going to run out onto the street. I've got a submachine gun. I'm going to be a gory example, because it's a good one, because it's I want to highlight the realistics, how this works, whether it's achievable or realistic, because a lot of people say they're the same, and I'm going to show you how they're not. So I've got a submachine gun. I'm going to run out on the street and I'm going to shoot 4 people dead. I'm not really going to do that, by the way, but this is just a hypothetical example, right? I'm going to shoot 4 people dead. So that's specific, isn't it? It's also measurable. I'm going to do that in the next 15 minutes. So I've now time framed it. It's results oriented. And then I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to continue recording this video. So I'm going to grab my submachine gun. I'm going to run outside onto the street. I'm going to shoot 4 people dead. I'm going to then come back in here and I'm going to continue recording a video for you. Now, let's have a look at that as a SMART goal. It was specific, yes. It was measurable, definitely. It's achievable, definitely. I mean, I don't have a submachine gun, but if I did, certainly achievable. I could get one, I guess. It's results-oriented, yes, and it was time frame, definitely, but it wasn't realistic. Okay, so it's not realistic for me to do that. So when we're thinking about setting our goals, you've got to make sure that our goals, when you set them, you use the SMART acronym, but really test them. Don't just accept that, yeah, I've set that goal and I'm all good with it. Actually say to yourself, am I actually going to do this? Do I even want to do it? Is it realistic? Yeah, it may be achievable, but if it's not realistic, then why bother? So there you go. Hopefully that's helped you understand a little bit more about setting goals and using the SMART acronym to make sure that your goals are tested and that your goals that you set are viable. That's pretty much what the SMART acronym's for. So good luck with setting your goals.